right, welcome into another edition of the MHA Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about Cam Ward, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter. That means it's time for the rookie episode. It's July 24th, a Thursday night, as the crew talks about those fresh faces looking to make their mark on the fantasy football season. Eric Lansing, Mikey Renaud, Todd Diamond. Good evening, fellas. How we doing?
Fan-freaking-tastic. The best podcast of the year. Rookies. Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're not going to win the championship, that's the best year for you. I get that.
Hey.
Ooh,
Hey,
Eric's
some
Shots fired already.
I know, right? Golly. Come on. No, hey, rookies of hell. Hey, rookies can help you win a fantasy championship, okay?
I can't deny that.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing, Miguel?
doing great. All this time studying rookies,
Yeah.
ready to get this show on the road.
I mean,
Mikey
all those
is ready
YouTube
to go.
videos, all those watching all those highlights, Mikey, on YouTube, probably are awesome, right? Just watching just
No, I wasn't just watching highlights. I was looking for lowlights too.
I guess you'll see everything on YouTube. So you could go and type in low lights of Travis Hunter. Is that what you found?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be just the highlight guy, because then you're not going to get a real representation of the player.
That's a very good point. Very good point. I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear what you have to say about these individuals. Before we get to the rookie talk, though, there is some news here early in this NFL offseason.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
Let's start off with some good news. How about Buffalo Bills on Hard Knocks? You guys excited to see them in action? I guess they're not doing at least that I haven't seen, because last year they did the New York Giants and the draft and all that kind of stuff. This looks like this is just kind of the normal, regular episodes of Hard Knocks. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so it's just gonna be what they do in training camp and like their off days. Yeah, so I mean, I liked kind of what they did, in the off season. What the Giants did in the off season.
I thought it was great. Yeah,
yeah, that was. I mean,
especially since it didn't work out for him after all.
Yeah,
for the
because
Giants.
I guess apparently his the GM's kid was like, hey, you need to draft this player. Like, no, we're gonna draft Neighbors and keep Daniel Jones. Worked out for them really well.
Well, Neighbors is good, but it didn't help them win many games. That's for sure. You excited for Buffalo Bills, Miguel?
No, not really.
No, it's going to be
I don't know.
pretty boring.
Hard Knocks has gotten kind of stale for me.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of get the gist of you get the new guys going to training camp. They try and make you see the feel-good story, who eventually gets cut. They show some preseason highlights. Get to know the coaches a little bit. I mean, I don't know.
So what are you going to watch instead?
We
get ready for the NFL season. What are you excited to watch outside of Hard Knocks? Big Brother's not going on, is it?
It is, actually.
Oh, boo.
Oh, okay.
Mikey's a big Brother fan.
Hey.
All right. Well, cool. I'm excited. I always like that stuff. Just as someone that films a lot of sports, it's always cool, the different angles and how much they bring in, all the cameras, and it's pretty neat. We'll keep going here. Retirement. How about Mike Williams retiring from the NFL at age 30? He recently signed a 1-year deal back with the Chargers for 1 year, but then I guess decided to hang it up. Played for 8 seasons in the NFL, 5,104 yards receiving, 32 touchdowns. So Mike Williams, fantasy relevant for a couple of those seasons. So he's going to hang it up. How about TJ Watt? He's not retiring. He got paid. The former Defensive Player of the Year, 4-year extension worth $123 million, $40 million in guaranteed signing bonus. Watt is the Steelers' all-time career sack leader with 108. Second fastest player to ever reach 100 career sacks, next to Reggie White. Some news that we were texting this morning. I think Mikey sent the initial one, but Justin Fields, that initial text was taken off the field, but he's fine. It's a dislocated toe. It seems like it's just day to day. So thanks for the wake up call this morning, Miguel.
You can just snap it back into place.
Oh,
that's
lovely.
Not get into that.
Yeah.
At least it's not anything major. He's going to miss the season.
I would say that, we say that the Jets are cursed in the quarterback department forever. And you know what? And you know when the curse started is when they drafted this quarterback called Ken O'Brien. You know, that's where the
Ken O'Brien here today.
That's where the curse started, because they could have had Dan Marino. I'm just saying that's where so that means they kept missing on quarterbacks, because they drafted the wrong one in '83, knowing Dan Marino was probably the better quarterback. But let's draft this Ken O'Brien guy. He you know, out of a school, it's a smaller school. Yeah, sure, why not? But I just
Ken
look at
O'Brien was a good quarterback.
How many seasons did he was he with the Jets? Not long, was he? I don't think I remember.
He made a couple playoff games with them. Todd,
No,
you just got to know about
no
that
Dan
Ken
Marino.
O'Brien to Al Toon connection.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, why didn't they just draft Todd Blackledge too? I mean, that worked out out too. So, but there you go. There's your Ken O'Brien plug for
fantasy football. Ken O'Brien, his best NFL season fantasy wise was 1986, where he had 3,690 yards, 25 touchdowns. Oh, actually, no, that's not a great year. He had 20 picks that year.
He played 9 years for the Jets, Todd. 9 years.
9 years? Jeez.
Yeah, so what? He was 50 and 59.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for
two Pro Bowls. Is
that what the Jets fans hang their hat on? Like, oh, we got a Dan Marino. Nah, we had Ken O'Brien in his 2 Pro Bowls. Neat. Anyway,
thank you, Eric. Thank you for.
I don't usually stand up for Todd, but I don't know if I'd count him as a good quarterback. 98 interceptions and 110 games.
Jeez.
Interceptions were more prevalent back in the day. Just saying.
Just saying. All I'm saying. Finishing up the news here, there was a lot of concern about whether James Cook was going to show up for training camp because he's looking for an extension, threatened to hold out, but he apparently showed up today. So he says it's going to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen, but he's back at camp. No real concerns at this point. And last thing I have, and you guys can throw out anything if I miss anything, but DeAndre Hopkins dealing with a knee injury. Didn't practice today. Doesn't sound serious, but they're just keeping an eye on it for those who are interested in DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know how many people are based on our conversations last week, but that's what I have for the news. Ready to talk some rookies?
Hell yeah.
All right. So I was just looking at how rookies did last year in our league. And of course, we had some big names have some big seasons. You talk about the Broncos quarterback, of course, Bo Nix finished 5th overall amongst quarterbacks, 751 points, 376 completions, just under 3,800 pass yards, 29 touchdowns. He actually had 4 rushing touchdowns as well. So he had a fantastic year if you're talking about rookies. And Jaden Daniels, Todd's boy, finished 8th overall with 3,568 passing yards, 25 passing touchdowns. He also ran for almost 900 yards and added 6 rushing touchdowns. So big rookie quarterback seasons. And then Brian Thomas, a couple of wide receivers here. Brian Thomas, 4th overall amongst all wide receivers in our scoring last year. And Malik Neighbors, Mikey's boy from last year, 6th overall. And so then, of course, Brock Bowers breaking all kinds of records as a rookie tight end at 112 receptions, close to 1,200 yards and 5 touchdowns. And so big year for rookies, and it made a difference. So if you're willing to take a chance on those guys, pick those guys up at the end of the draft, or if you want to take those rookie running backs early, they can pay off. And so, we'll start things off, of course, with our quarterbacks. And Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick by the Tennessee Titans out of the University of Miami. There you go. I was waiting for it. 6'2", 219. He won the Davey O'Brien Award as the nation's top QB. He was 4th in Heisman voting. He set a school record with 39 passing touchdowns, 4,300 yards, and set an NCAA record with 158 career touchdowns, because I think he played for like 6 seasons or something like that. Should start from day 1. I'll let Todd, that's his boy. Tell me a little bit about Cam Ward, and is he someone that folks should be looking at as a starter or maybe even as a backup for our fantasy league?
Well, starter, much as obviously I would say he's from the U. I would say yes, he's worth a starter. He should be a starter, but realistically, you still want to see you want to kind of wait and see with him, but he would be a great backup. I mean, obviously he's going to start from day one. I mean, he had 39 touchdowns in his one season with Miami. That's freaking phenomenal. Obviously the weapons in Tennessee, don't exactly jump off the page. I mean, you have Calvin Ridley. Drawing a blank here.
Are you talking about wide receivers over there?
Yeah, wide receivers. Yeah. So, Lockett, Tyler Lockett, as well. So obviously, his weapons around him
Doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good. Yes, I agree. But Ward does have the talent to, to kind of, surprise some people, give you, I mean, even if it's a, bye week filler or just, streaming him or whatever, if the matchup is great. Obviously I would not have him, week one, because he's playing the Broncos. So that's the probably don't want to play him week one against the Broncos. But at the end of the day, Cam Ward definitely has the ability. I mean, they have him projected 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. I think that number is just the rookie, the rookie scale wall, coming into the league, coming in the NFL is obviously different, but I think he has a skill. I mean, he was the clear cut number one quarterback, to be taken at number one in the actual NFL draft. So, obviously I'm high on him. Obviously I would definitely look at him, as a backup on my team. Kind of what I mean, is he, is he Jaden Daniels? No, but he could potentially, he could shock some people. So I'm definitely, I'm definitely high on him as my backup, I wouldn't, I would probably have to draft him because I don't think he'd be sitting on the waiver wire. I think he's at least worthy enough to be drafted.
So just looking over the stuff, and I'm going to ask you about Cam Ward Miguel here. He can move around. He's not looking to run. He didn't run for a lot of yards, although it sounds like he was pretty good at the goal line. He scored 17 touchdowns within the 5-yard line. What are your thoughts on Cam Ward? Can he be a Bo Nix kind of guy or a Jaden Daniels type of guy that's going to, maybe that takes a few weeks to get going, but then he's someone that'll end up as a starter for someone as the team goes along? Or is he just going to be more of a kind of a bye week fill-in type of thing?
So I don't have him as being drafted.
Okay.
I know he will because
Todd's in our league.
Todd's in our league. Todd will probably take him. I have him more as a streamer. To me, I just saw a lot of inconsistencies in his game. Like, to me, he's like a real boomer bust on a week-to-week basis. Like, I compare him to like a more mobile Jameis Winston. Like, my problem when I was watching Cam Ward was like, man, his arm's incredible. That was the first thing that kind of left off the page. But then when I was like watching him, I'm like, okay, well, he either goes to his first read or then he immediately just starts kind of scrambling around. And he never takes a sack, which you would say, well, that's a great thing. But that's because he'll throw the ball into like triple coverage. He'll throw it across the field. When he's getting hit out of bounds, he'll just throw it into coverage. So I think what you're going to see from him is there's going to be games where he's going to be a guy that can go get you a 50 because Tennessee is behind. He's going to collect completions. He may throw like 2 touchdowns, but he may also have like 4 interceptions in that game. On the bad side, I think there's going to be games where he faces really good defenses where he may get you like a 25 or less. So I think it's either going to be really low or really high. It's not like
it's not in between.
Not a consistent floor.
And he will. My guess is he's going to be the starter. Will Levis, who is probably his biggest competition, I think is out for the season. I don't know if I saw that correctly or not, but Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle are the guys that are going to be in the mix. But when you draft someone number 1 overall, more than likely he's going to be starting day 1. The other quarterbacks, and if you guys want to talk about them, I mean, Mikey said Cam Ward's not even draftable. Todd says backup, so I don't know how much we want to spend time on Jackson Dart, who's a first-round pick by the New York Giants from Ole Miss, and then Tyler Show, second-round pick from the Saints out of Louisville. So anything you guys want to say about these guys? I'll let Mikey go first.
No on either. I don't think either one of these guys is worth being drafted.
Okay. I just put them on here because there's good chances they could be starters at some point. Because Jackson Dart's battling with Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, so probably not as much. I mean, I'm not big on Winston and Wilson, but they're more seasoned veterans. So it may take a few weeks or halfway through the season for Dart to get in. And then Show for the Saints, I mean, he's battling Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner. So he could be starting before those dudes before it's said and done. So Todd, you want to say anything about these two dudes?
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Dart, he's a little bit more athletic, but not. I mean, they're not really on my radar.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get into the running backs then. The position everybody wants to talk about, especially when we're talking about Ashton Jeanty, who is the number 6 overall pick by the Raiders from Boise State. He's 5'8", 211. Fantastic 2024 season. 2,600 yards, 29 touchdowns. He was just short of Barry Sanders' touchdown record. Couple of places I've seen, they say he's built between Barry Sanders and LaDainian Tomlinson, which is incredible to see. He had 50 plus rushing yard runs in 9 of 14 of his games, so he has that home run ability. I'll start with Todd. Some of your thoughts on Jeanty. I looking over, well, I'm looking at magazines or websites. A lot of folks have Jeanty as a first-round pick. Obviously, when you hear the names Barry Sanders and LaDainian Tomlinson, that gets folks excited. What are your thoughts on this Boise State running back?
Well, obviously, let's put it this way: if it wasn't for what Travis Hunter did, Jeanty probably would have won the Heisman. That probably would have been your Heisman Trophy winner right there. There's no competition really in Oakland. I mean, he is
Raheem Mostert. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah,
continue.
Very good. I like that. That's good. He's a versatile back. I mean, what he did in his last season at Boise State was just phenomenal. Between Jeanty and Ward, those might be your rookie of the year, your offensive rookie of the year. So I think those two are going to battle for that. But for Jeanty, yes, I think, and again, we have one Raiders fan in our league, G, and I would not be surprised if he drafts Jeanty in the first round, and it wouldn't be a horrible pick, drafting Jeanty in the first round, because again, he's going to get all the carries. I mean, he's going to get all the carries. I mean, they're going to, passing it to him. And we know this with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll loves to run the ball. And, obviously look at what he did with Marshawn Lynch in Seattle. I mean, turned Marshawn Lynch into a superstar running back. Obviously when he was in Buffalo, we thought, really didn't do anything. So with Jeanty, I mean, they've got him projected. 1,287 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. He might get double digit touchdowns there. So if Jeanty is there in the first round, I personally mentioned I don't want to give any credit to any Raiders, because most of all of us are Broncos fans here. Raiders suck, boo. And but if Jeanty is there, I'd have to think about it, because Genty's going to get all the carries, and we talk about volume with running backs, and there's nobody there. There's no one else there to do it. They drafted him 6th overall to be the guy, because we always talk about, well, there's not as many bell cow running backs left in the NFL. Well, a new one just came, another one just came into the league in Genty. So I would, drafting Genty in the first round would not be like, oh my, like, why would you, like, wouldn't be crazy. It would be a great pick to draft him in the first round.
So, Mikey, a couple things I'm going to throw at you, and I'll let you respond. You could tell me any highlights or lowlights that you saw from him. But Raiders sported one of the worst offensive lines one season ago, just 3.6 yards per carry with their running backs. But however, the last 6 running backs taken in the top 10 in an NFL draft have all panned out to an extent. You talk about Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Chris McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, Saquon Barkley, and Bijan Robinson. What are your initial thoughts? Is he a first round? Like, what have you seen from him? And is he someone people should think about in the first round?
By the way, I don't like either one of those comparisons that you gave.
Okay,
I
sure.
mean, that would be super high praise. Barry Sanders and
these aren't my thoughts. These are just things I've read in many different places.
I mean, I don't think he's.
I mean, he's impressive on the tape. Honestly, I looked through the tape from him, and it was fun to watch him. But go ahead. What did you see?
He's not near the receiving threat as a Tomlinson, and he's not nearly elusive as Barry Sanders. Like, he's a workhorse for sure. I felt like what stood out when watching him was that he always made the first guy miss. Like, whoever is the first guy in that backfield, he's just pretty good, whether it was stiff arming the dude, juking him, always made the first guy miss. Didn't have that real, he's fast enough, but didn't have that real breakaway speed, but he got better as the game went on. He just wears on you, which is great. I mean, if you're going to have he's a guy that just needs more and more and more carries. So to Todd's point, drafting him that early, I definitely do think that they would like him to be a bell cow. Kind of reminded me of Fred Taylor, who was always kind of a underrated dude, but was a really, really good running back. Genty, I think, let me just double check as far as where I have him. I don't know that I had him in the first round. No, I have him as a middle second round guy, so I'm probably a little bit lower than Todd on Genty, but I still think he's a fantastic running back.
Yeah, his tape was impressive. He caught 80 passes in 3 years with Boise State. So 14 1 year, had a big 43 reception year in his second year. The one thing that could be, I don't know, it could be, I guess for you dynasty leagues, we're a redraft league, so it's not a big deal, but he had 830 touches in college. That is a ton of mileage on one guy, but they really made him work because he was the best part of their offense last year. So 374 attempts last season, and then also had 23 receptions. So big name, top number 6 overall. So he's going to come in, and we'll see how productive and who's willing to take a risk on him early. Let's keep going here because we have a lot of names still left to go. Let's go to Omarion Hampton, first round pick by the Chargers from UNC, 6 foot 221. Of course, we know the Chargers is a team that wants to run. They lost J.K. Dobbins. He got hurt late last season. Now he's a Bronco. We kind of talked about him a little bit last week because we were talking about Najee Harris now also with the Chargers. Some of the numbers for Hampton: 3,164 yards, 30 TDs, 67 receptions, 3 TDs last 2 years with or in Chapel Hill. Not a big reception running back just based on his stats. Doesn't mean he can't do it, but they didn't utilize him that way. Mikey, some of your thoughts on Hampton, even with Najee Harris in the mix?
To me, it wasn't coincidental that his number was 28 because he kind of reminded me of Jonathan Taylor. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's explosive and compact, and to me, noticed similar to Genty, as the game goes on, he starts wearing you out too. And he kind of had a nose for the end zone from what I saw. So I think he's in a really, really good situation. I know they brought in Najee Harris, but I don't know. Like if I watch Najee Harris and I watch Amari and Hampton, like to me it's clear, at least based on eye test, like which one I rather have. And it's not Najee Harris.
Well, I think we got that from last week's show too. I know Todd's more of a Najee Harris guy. Harris also dealing with an injury, playing with some fireworks. I guess he's dealing with an eye issue, so we'll keep an eye on that as we go along. I mean, you kind of talked about Hampton a little bit last week, Todd, but would he be your number 2 rookie running back behind Genty, or did you have someone else higher ranked than Hampton?
I have somebody else. I have somebody else ranked higher than Hampton.
No, I'm just kidding. I wonder.
Well, there you go. Amari and Hampton. Let's get to the next guy in Quinshawn Judkins, 36th overall in the NFL draft by the Browns from Ohio State. His buddy Travion Henderson also in the mix there. They kind of shared time last season. Judkins, I think the quicker back. They were saying to Henderson more of a bigger back. Of course, Judkins dealing with some legal issues. Nothing that we're going to get into here on the podcast. Didn't look like he had a lot of breakaway speed, more of a grinder between the tackles. Todd, some of your thoughts there on Judkins, who's going to be playing for the Browns. Of course, they lost Nick Chubb from their squad. Is he going to be the number 1 guy over there? What are your thoughts?
I don't think he'll be the number 1 guy yet. I think Jerome Ford is still there. I mean, Jenkins, when he was at Ohio State, he was more of like more of that scat back where, you get him in space and, he's off the races and everything like that. But to be the number 1, I don't see it. I don't see him being the number 1. I see him sharing time maybe with Jerome Ford. You have Dylan Sampson there too. So I think the Browns are trying to. I think the Browns right now, you kind of have to wait and see with the Browns backfield. Watch some preseason games and see, who emerges out of those 3 running backs before you kind of say, okay, this is who's gonna be the main back, even if they do a committee. Okay, who's still going to be the number 1 back in that situation?
I mean, Mikey, is Jerome Ford that big of a hurdle? I mean, minus, I don't know if he's someone that is. Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at the rushing stats, and he didn't even finish in the top 4. Maybe he dealt with some injuries last year. He's dealing with an injury right now. It doesn't say what the injury is. It says undisclosed, but that's just going to open a big window. So, the thing I noticed about Judkins, probably let Mikey talk about it, is that he's strong. He breaks tackles. He's very good around the goal line. And going through his tape, so he never missed a game in college. So he's pretty durable as well. What are some of your thoughts on Judkins?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your points there. My problem is that it's the Browns, and
of course,
I know, they had to, offensively, they were up and down last year, but like they have 5 quarterbacks and they don't know which one's going to be which. The receivers to me are not that great. Like their offense as a whole is kind of a disaster. And so while I wanted to like Judkins and I liked a lot of what I saw, I just hate this situation so much. Like he can pick up like rushing stats, but this is going to be a team that's going to struggle to score, in my opinion. And so I worry. I don't like the legal thing either. That's a bad way to start your rookie season.
Yeah. People need to slow down. Jeez.
I don't want to say stay away because, like I said, there was some stuff on tape that I liked, but it almost kind of is just based on the situation.
You don't have to tell me, but exactly who you like better. I mean, but there are the running backs that I have listed behind him that you like in terms of like, we're going to talk about Henderson and Harvey and Scatabo and Tootin. You like those guys better than Judkins? Just in terms of their situation, would you draft them over Judkins if it came up to it?
So, I mean, I would draft Harvey and Henderson above Judkins.
Okay.
The other guy, Scatabo, I would draft Judkins over him. Tootin, I would draft Judkins over him. Caleb Johnson, it's pretty close between him and Judkins for me.
Todd, any quick thoughts on Judkins? Or did I already ask you about Judkins?
Yeah, asked me
Okay.
about Judkins.
Well, then I'll ask you about Travion Henderson, who was also from Ohio State, second-round pick by the Patriots. He was 2 picks later, actually. Last season, 7.1 yards per carry. He has dealt with some injuries the last 2 years, but based on some of the stuff I saw, he always came up in big games. 48 touchdowns in 47 games. Patriots don't have a great offensive line, but what are some of your thoughts about Henderson?
Well, obviously Henderson was more of the, was more of the bigger back. Obviously run between the tackles and everything like that. But, the thing, and he does kind of fit the mold of a Patriots running back where, may not be, like a top tier running back, but, still kind of, pass blocks and, really runs between the tackles, blocks and everything like that. And so forth. So I think it's going to be interesting to see again, just like with the Browns backfield a little bit. You don't know. I mean, Henderson should be the starter, but Stevenson is obviously still there as well, and he, and at times he can, he's good at times as well. I think it's gonna be between Stevenson and Henderson. I mean, Gibson. I think with either last year or 2 years ago, I think I was high on him. Like, oh, he'll be that all-purpose back, catch balls out. Yeah, get that was short-lived. So I think it's between Henderson and Stevenson. But I think ultimately, Henderson takes that role. So I would draft Henderson before I would draft Stevenson.
Stevenson, 7 fumbles, 3.9 yards per carry last season. So an opportunity for Henderson to take over for Stevenson, who had a really bad season 1 year ago. Some of the things I noticed watching his tape, he finds the holes really well, explosive, gets to the edge. He kind of gave me Chris Carson vibes, who also fumbled quite a bit in his career. But so any thoughts that you had on Henderson, Miguel?
He's fast.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I noticed. Dude's quick. And he can catch. I feel like it gives New England a dimension that they haven't had because, Stevenson's kind of like a plotter. Like, he's a big dude that's just kind of slow, but he's big and break tackles. Like, Travion Henderson, I think, will be able to get on the field because to me, he's so different from what Ramondre Stevenson is. I don't know. There was some plays watching Travion Henderson where, catching out of the backfield and then, his acceleration, it gave me some Jahmyr Gibbs type.
Oh, that's some praise.
Comparison just with that kind of ability, his ability to catch and go, which was really impressive. He's not the type of runner that Gibbs is, but getting out and catching and then going, that was what was impressive to me.
Good stuff. Travion Henderson. We'll keep going on here in this running back rookie train, and let's talk about R.J. Harvey. 5'8", 205 pounds, second-round pick by the Broncos out of Central Florida. Played 6 years in college, so he's 24 years old. In his final 2 seasons out of Central Florida, 6.5 yards per carry, close to 3,000 total yards and 38 touchdowns. Had 39 receptions in his final 25 games, so not a ton. But he comes to an offense where they like to utilize the running back out of the backfield and throw passes to him. Mikey, are we excited about R.J. Harvey for this Denver Bronco team who looks like the offense could be in a good place these days?
I'm guessing this is who Todd has second because he's a Bronco. I don't
Yes.
have him second, by the way.
Of
Todd.
course
I
you
don't
don't.
have him
Of
above
course.
Marion Hampton, and it's not because I'm being a Bronco hater. I'm just being realistic, and I know
I
how
know
this works.
you're Mikey. You're what a realistic Broncos fan should be.
No, I'm just going to tell you like it is. Like this to me, like is going to be it's going to be a split. You know, Sean
Okay.
Payton loves to use everybody, so
I agree.
he's not RJ Harvey's not going to be a bell cow.
Okay.
Watch his tape. Like again, he's another guy that's fast and he's lethal in space. Like the dude, but he is small. Like he's small and fast.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a weird thing. I don't know that this matters that much, but every play I watched him, they ran him out of the shotgun.
Exactly. That was my next note.
Which I don't know. Like it didn't bother me when I was watching it. It was something that I picked up on. Like this is interesting. Like every single play is out of shotgun. Like I think what Sean Payton saw some things that he saw probably when he was like watching Reggie Bush, like just given how fast
Mm-hmm.
and the way that he can move is. I don't know if he's like on that Reggie Bush level as a rusher, but
No, I mean he's more. I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, I know. Maybe like a faster version of Maurice Jones-Drew.
you know, the only reason I don't like that comparison is like
Yeah.
Maurice Jones-Drew could like throw defenders off and just run people over, even at his small size.
Yeah, I think he has bigger shoulders, but
Yeah, like I don't know, and he seems faster than Maurice Jones-Drew, like which I think is what you said. I don't know, like I almost think it's like a mixture of like I think he saw some Reggie Bush stuff. I think he saw some Kamara stuff. But I think Harvey's below probably both of them. But man, he is fast. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say before we move on to the next one is when I was looking at his highlights, that offensive line was incredible. How many holes did that dude have where he didn't have to do anything except just run through the hole? And so I'm not taking anything away from Harvey, but I mean, and he'll have a good offensive line here because it's one of the better ones in the NFL. But I was just like, wow, he doesn't have to do anything. Look how big he could drive a truck through there. So, but RJ Harvey, we'll see how much. I mean, obviously within our league, a lot of Bronco fans, how soon he will go. But let's talk about Cam Scatabo out of the New York Football Giants, Arizona State out of the 4th round. Todd, this is a gentleman who last season put up a ton of numbers, 1,700 yards, 21 touchdowns. He had a big game against Texas in their playoff loss where he had 242 yards of total scrimmage. Some of your thoughts on Scatabo?
Well, obviously a little bit smaller back, but very fast, run through the tackles.
Well, on his pro day, he only ran a 4.65. Now, I mean, that's just one day. Maybe he was injured or something, but it didn't sound like he's a fast guy. But go ahead.
I think he's just more. I think if anything, I've seen the games I've seen, he's more like he can once he hits because he runs through the tackles a lot too as well. But I think when he hits that hole, he can kind of turn on the jets a little bit. But yeah, I mean the Giants are going to need everything humanly possible, especially in their running game as well. So I think it's going to be close, but I think maybe he might edges out Tyrone Tracy Jr. I mean, obviously he kind of came out of nowhere last year, but I think I could see. I think they'll still just be a committee, but I think he'll definitely be in that mix a lot in that Giants backfield.
Mikey, you wanted to talk about Scatabo over here, and Tracy had a decent season for 839 yards, 4.4 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns, 38 receptions. Could this be Scatabo's gig, or is it going to be more of a committee like Todd just said?
Probably a committee. The reason that I wanted to bring him up is that, yes, Tracy had, a pretty decent season, but I think he's a different type of runner than Tracy. He's like more of a battering ram, which I think can be really effective in the red zone. So I felt like Scatabo would be a guy that they could bring in when they're down there to like. I think he'd be a better option than Tracy when it comes to getting into the end zone. And so while I think Tracy will probably be the number one, I think that there could be some value to Scatabo.
Give me some quick thoughts because we're at 40 minutes. We haven't even got to the wide receivers yet. So, Mikey, give me some quick thoughts on Bayshall Tootin, a 4th-round pick by the Jaguars out of Virginia Tech.
Underrated dude. Like, I mean, I think Jacksonville with a new coach, Liam Cohen in there, was looking for, somebody like Travis Etienne was pretty disappointing.
3.7 yards per carry last year and pretty much outplayed by Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, Tank Bisbee, who I didn't really think was all that great either.
No.
So I think he's Tootin's somebody to watch during the preseason. Again, I mean, he's another dude that just has like explosive speed, and so like, just a different type of running back that I think, is definitely somebody that have got to keep your eye on what's going on in Jacksonville. They're between Travis Hunter's speed and Ryan Thomas's speed, and I'm telling you, Tootin is he's fast. So
he had the best 40 and the best vertical amongst all running backs at the combine.
Yeah, and you can see it on the field. And so he's a sleeper pick for me.
Todd, talk about Caleb Johnson, Pittsburgh Steelers 3rd-round rookie out of Iowa. Seemed like he was pretty productive when he was there with them.
Yes, Iowa running backs definitely over the years have definitely been productive. Again, he's going into a situation where he's probably going to be the main guy. I mean, Jaden Warren probably comes in to maybe spill him a little bit, but Caleb Johnson was another running back I was looking at too, that may if the Broncos were going to draft him, but I mean, he's got the he's got the speed, he's got the elusiveness that you're looking for in a running back. So I think again, it's interesting with all these running backs. Just want to point this one out really quick, is that a lot of these running backs are going into situations where like they're going to be the guy, whether they got drafted in the 1st round, 2nd, or whatever it is, that their situations are in their favor. So obviously for fantasy purposes, that's phenomenal, because if there's no real competition for them, then that's a win-win all around. So I think Caleb Johnson definitely has an opportunity to be very productive in his first year, and even get drafted in the maybe the 4th or 5th round for fantasy.
That's a little high for me.
It seems high, but yeah, I mean, at some point, everybody's going to take a rookie running back because you never know if they're going to pan out. Bucky Irving was a big one last year. All right, let's get to wide receivers. I'm interested to hear what Mikey has to say in terms of his lowlights, but maybe he doesn't have any. But of course, Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick by the Jaguars, University of Colorado. Of course, Mikey watched a lot of him last year. He's 6 foot, 188 pounds, the Heisman Trophy winner, 96 receptions, 1,258 yards, 15 touchdowns. Some of your thoughts. It seems like he's got an amazing football IQ. Of course, we hear a lot about how great he was at the cornerback position. Is he going to play more cornerback? Is he going to play more wide receiver? What do you see happening with Travis Hunter, and how high should he go in most drafts?
So I have him as a round 8 pick.
Okay. It's like you're not drafting him, but okay.
I'm not drafting him.
You're not going to have the opportunity. Let me say that.
Love the dude as a player, but it to me, as good as I think he can be, first of all, he's not going to be the number 1 receiver. That's Brian Thomas. But number 2, I'm so for the story of him playing both sides of the field. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to draft Travis Hunter, it's like you might as well set aside like 3 to 4 games where he's not going to play, because he's basically doubling his chances of getting injured playing both sides of the ball, and it's going to happen at some point. As good as he is, I just, for me, it's not worth the risk of basically drafting a receiver that high, knowing that he's going to get hurt. I'm just going to say it. He's going to get hurt.
I'm just looking at this mock draft. Mikey said 8th round. This one has him in the 6th round, going around guys like Jameson Williamson, and Jordan Addison. So as a high number 2 guy, here's my problem. If you really have to believe in Trevor Lawrence if he's going to make both Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter fantasy relevant. And when can we ever say we can trust Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
not going to happen.
yeah.
I don't want to say it's not going to happen. I'm not saying that Travis Hunter's not a good player, but you're asking a lot. And 8th round's probably legit. Let's keep going here. Let's talk about the 8th overall pick by the Panthers out of Arizona. Let's see if I can get this name right. I phonetically spelled it right. Tatai Roa. He is Tatai Roa McMillan. Did I say it wrong, Miguel? Is that why you're chuckling over there?
No, it's just that you're really trying, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, I had to look it up. I don't want to sound like an idiot. I mean, that's not a normal name, so I wanted to make sure. So for McMillan, 6'4", 219, did not run at the combine, so it doesn't seem like he's a burner. Seems like he's one of those guys that's going to go up and get those balls, high throws his way, incredibly productive, where he had 130 or more receiving yards 9 times last year. So, Mikey, talk about McMillan. So he had 174 receptions, 18 touchdowns in his last 2 years at Arizona. Obviously, Xavier Leggett, who was a first-round pick, is in the mix. Is he going to be the number 2? What did you see from him?
So definitely, like you said, a big body that could go get it. So not a burner, but definitely a red zone threat if you can get it to him. Kind of reminds me a little bit like of T. Higgins or the recently retired Mike Williams.
There you go.
So let's see which one of those he is. I mean, both of those guys were injury prone, so I kind of feel like I'm, hopefully
Not
getting
jinxing
rid of
him.
that bad juju there. But yeah, T. Higgins has Joe Burrow, McMillan has Bryce Young, so that's a big difference. I don't know. I think that he could be a solid. I have him as a 9th round receiver, so I have Hunter ahead of him. But I mean, he could be a guy that you could draft, in those middle to late rounds. That, like I said, he could be a somebody that can get you some touchdowns, which, it doesn't make him like a good week to week guy, but somebody that you can definitely plug and play.
All right, quick question for you, Miguel. Who would you draft first? Would it be Leggett or McMillan first? If they were both there for you,
For me, it would be McMillan because I just feel like there's more upside.
Okay. Todd, talk to me about Emeka Egbuka, the Buccaneers wide receiver from Ohio State, 6'1", 202 pounds. He caught a program record 205 passes with the Buckeyes. Obviously, there's Mike Evans and Godwin in the mix, but how do you feel about this guy?
I mean, it seems like Ohio State is just keeps just producing, these great Ohio State wide receivers year after year after year. He goes into a great situation, I think. Obviously, I mean, he's, Mike Evans and Godwin are still there, but he can definitely, you can definitely trust him if you needed to play, like a bye week filler or, even maybe in your flex because of how good that offense is with Baker Mayfield in there as well. And he's a burner as well. I mean, physical wide receiver. So I'm definitely, I'm always, I say it every single year is I'd rather have, like whether it's the 3rd wide receiver, or the 4th wide receiver, but if he's attached to a great offense, then I'm all for that because then the ball is just going to go all around and he's going to have those opportunities because the defense is going to focus on Evans and Godwin, and to me that's a win, that's a win-win right there. That's what I'd rather have I'd rather have the 3rd best wide receiver and a good offense than maybe a sometimes a number 1 wide receiver and a bad offense. So I'm all in on him.
I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on this, but do you know who the third best wide receiver was for the Tampa Bay last year?
McMillan.
No. If you're talking, so Mike Evans led the way with 74 receptions, 1,000 yards. Cade Otton had 59 catches. Obviously, he's a tight end, and then Chris Godwin. For as much as he missed last year, he was the second best wide receiver with 50 catches. So I don't know how good the offense is to be able to sustain that, but the big thing is Mike Evans is older. Godwin has missed some time the last few years, so there's a chance he could get into the second or first, depending on how everything plays out. So Egbuka could be someone that could sneak in and pick up some receptions and some touchdowns based on how the season goes. Mikey, talking about Matthew Golden for me. He was the third wide receiver drafted in this year's draft. Comes out of the University of Texas for the Packers. Currently on the depth chart as number 2 behind Jaden Reed and ahead of Romeo Doubs. Talk about Golden for me.
Well, I think Green Bay definitely needed a receiver. Golden is really quick too. Like, kind of reminds me a little bit of Jalen Waddle. You can see good route runner, gets really good separation. The problem I think for him is that he's not like the most physical dude in the world, and so I don't know. Like, and to me, like, he's gonna struggle with more physical corners. But I mean, on the plus side, like, as good a route runner as he is, like, if he's able to catch in space, then he's able to get some good yards after the catch. So that's a positive with him. I think Green Bay was kind of missing somebody like that. Like, Jaden Reed is like fast, but he's like really small. He's really small. Yeah. Not like a huge, like, deep threat. And then Christian Watson's always hurt. Romeo Doubs is inconsistent and sometimes has attitude problems. So yeah, it gives them something different. I think that Golden is. Let me see where I had him rated. I think it was more towards the end part of the draft, but I think that there is definitely some upside with him. Yeah, I had him right around round 12. So yeah, some definite upside with him. Probably not a starter if you're looking for that. Probably not a flex, but somebody to have on your roster as a backup.
I'll let Todd talk about Pat Bryant, but Mikey, I'll let you say anything if you want to say something about Jaden Higgins, who's a early second-round pick by the Texans out of Iowa State. Of course, with Houston, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, Tank Dell, but they're all injury-prone. Is Higgins someone that people should keep an eye on at the end of the draft?
Definitely. I mean, I've already heard some pretty good things come out of Texans training camp with him. Like, what's funny is just watching him. He's very, similar to, Nico Collins in a lot of ways. They need that other receiver. Like you mentioned with Tank Dell, like, he's probably gonna be out for the entire year.
Oh, really? I heard he was still dealing with a torn ACL, but I didn't see all year. But yeah, that'll be tough.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a brutal injury. Like, I'd be surprised if he came back this year. But yeah, there's a reason that they gave him like the first guaranteed contract for a second round pick. Like, when you watch him, like, he's, a dude that, I mean, he catches everything, like, which is amazing. And he's another, big body guy, just like Nico Collins, that they use their size to their advantage. Like, he's able to go up and, man up the corner is like the best thing that I can say, and go get those balls. So he's definitely somebody I'm keeping my eye on.
Todd, you wanted to talk about Pat Bryant, the third round pick by the Broncos out of Illinois. Go for it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, obviously Pat Bryant doesn't have, one thing he didn't have, like, the speed, but there is comparisons, and I know we all love comparisons. I think we all love sports and everything, but kind of does remind me a little bit of Michael Thomas, who Sean Payton had when he was in New Orleans. Big body wide receiver, and here's the thing: I think he has an opportunity to. I think I mean, obviously last year the Broncos drafted Troy Franklin in the third round too, and obviously Troy Franklin didn't have the season, a lot of inconsistencies as well. But watching Pat Bryant on, watching some of his tape and everything, again, doesn't have the breakaway speed, but when he gets the ball, he gets out in space, he can go. And obviously, throw it up in the middle, throw it in the back of the end zone, he'll go up and get it. So I think Pat Bryant has an opportunity, really has an opportunity to be, if anything, I would put Sutton on one side, Pat Bryant on the other, put Mims in the slot as well. But I think Pat Bryant has an opportunity to to be the number 3 wide receiver in this offense for the Broncos.
Do you feel the same way, Miguel, being a Bronco fan?
Here it comes. Here it comes.
This it's just because we're talking about fantasy football. Like,
yeah,
okay, he's the number 3 receiver on the Broncos, but that actually makes him because I assume that means you. I'm going to ask you the question first, Todd. That means you're saying that it's Sutton, Mims, and then Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Evan Ingram has to go in there too, which would be ahead of Pat Bryant. So to me, Pat Bryant's not close to being draftable, at least in my eyes, because I also know they're going to use Vele and Troy Franklin too. This is Sean Payton. Everybody is going to get in there.
Little Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah.
Little Jordan Humphrey and the water boy.
Because outside of Sutton, who had 81 receptions and 8 touchdowns, Devon Vele was the second highest receptions wide receiver with 41. Then Marvin Mims, 39. Jordan Humphrey, 31. Troy Franklin, 28. I don't know if there's any fantasy value to be had there, unless you figure Bo Nix is going to throw for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns.
There's just something about Pat Bryant that seems like
you were pretty high on Troy Franklin last year too, so I don't know if I trust you at all with that. Mikey, talk to me about Colston Loveland.
I know that it's going to seem like really bad coming off the year that Brock Bowers had.
Yeah, that's a tough one to follow.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think people are going to think these rookies are just going to come in and light the world on fire. Like I liked Colston Loveland, at Michigan. Like he seems like he's like a really good route runner and he can catch the ball. It was a pretty good red zone threat, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't really like. I just the situation like Caleb Williams in Chicago, like there's a lot to be proven there. I know Ben Johnson, everybody's high on him, the offensive coordinator coming in. They think maybe Colston Loveland could be the Sam Laporta for the Bears. Maybe he can. I'm just very skeptical about it, to be honest.
I think it's okay to be skeptical. I mean, it's hard, especially when he played for Michigan, who's built more on the running game. So it's all about his 6'6", 248. I think those are big numbers for a tight end and might be tough. And there's a lot of mouths to feed. They're going to get the ball to DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, and DeAndre Swift can catch the ball out of the backfield. Is there enough for him? Who knows? Tyler Warren. So Colston Loveland, 10th overall pick by the Bears from Michigan. Tyler Warren, Colts from Penn State, 6'5", 256, the 14th overall pick. Anything you want to say about Warren?
Well, Warren coming in people were saying he was the better. He was like he was the more all-purpose tight end because he catches, blocks, runs, and everything. But I don't know. He's going to the Colts. Richardson seems like he gets hurt all the live long day. So I don't know. How what the quarterback situation is going to look like, but I mean Warren is definitely. I mean he'll. He had a great season in Penn State last year, but I don't know the situation he's going into. I don't know. I mean they're going to ask him. They're probably going to ask him to block. but it's going to be interesting. So I would, if anything, I would draft Loveland before I would draft Warren.
Yeah, it sounds like neither one. Well, maybe someone takes a chance on Loveland. I don't know if people are going to be excited about Warren. I mean, he had better stats than Loveland. He had 104 receptions and 12 touchdowns. Also ran for 4 touchdowns. But yeah, Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones doesn't spark any interest. Yeah. I mean, Warren only has to beat out Mo Alley Cox. But when you look at the offense from the Colts last year, their highest, I guess their best tight end in terms of stats was Kylan Granson, who had 14 receptions. Mo Alley Cox had 12. So I don't know if that's an offensive thing or the lack of just quarterback play, but it doesn't look anything exciting. But 14th overall pick, that is a lot of capital to use. But yeah, we are over an hour right now. Todd, what's on next week's show?
Well, we get to talk about quarterbacks, single callers, and we're gonna talk about how just a teaser, but a surprising number 1 quarterback that's gonna finish first in fantasy that I have ranked in my rankings, and I think we all know who it is, but you'll have to just wait till next week to find out.
Phoenix, everybody.
There you go. No. But there you have it. So that was the rookie show. Some rookies out there obviously were excited. I think maybe a little bit more just because of what we saw last year, but hopefully we gave you some enough information to utilize your drafts and pick those guys that could break out. And that's going to do it for us here on the MHA Podcast. We'll be back in a couple of days hopefully on Tuesday, and then bring you the quarterbacks. So for Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time.